The 2024 racing season started really badly for Alpine. This French racing team is now in last place in the championship. Their race car is super hard to figure out and fix. To make things even worse, important workers have quit the team and the drivers really don't like the car they have to drive. In the past few months, Alpine has had a lot of drama and mean behavior. Important people like Alain Prost and other smart workers left the team. So was everyone expecting Alpine to have these problems? And could they actually finish in last place for the whole 2024 season? Everyone knew Alpine would probably do badly this season. People said the team built a car that's too heavy and doesn't cut through the air very well. But nobody thought both drivers would start at the very back of the race just because their car was so slow. They didn't even get one single point in the first race of the season. This tells us a lot about where the team is going right now. The latest bad news is that two very important people on the team, the technical director Matt Harmon and the head of air-cutting stuff Dirk de Beer, both quit the team. This happened right after both Ocon and Gasly finished in 17th and 18th place, only beating drivers who had their cars break down during the race. When talking about how the car felt during the first racing weekend, even though everyone expected it to be bad, Gasly said the car is really hard to drive. But honestly, I don't think the car itself or how it acts is the main problem. A car, it can be hard to drive but still be fast enough to win races. At the end of the day, you need your car to stick to the track and push down on the ground really well. And we know that's what our car is really missing right now. It's really hard to deal with important workers leaving the team. Situations like this can definitely make a team go through a really painful time of having to rebuild everything. After all, people are saying Alpine has the slowest and worst car on the racing track, even slower than Haas. So what does the team officially say about heading into the biggest storm ever since they started racing? The boss of the team, Bruno Famin, said that even though workers leaving seems really sad from where we're looking, the goal is to get better in the middle and end of the 2024 racing season. They want to follow the same path that McLaren took last year to get better, but this seems like an impossible mission. When you think about all the workers leaving and changes happening at Alpine right now. Talking more about this, Famin went on to say we knew the start of the season was going to be really hard, and that's exactly what happened in Bahrain. Even though that's true, we're doing everything we can with what we have right now, and we will keep finding ways to make things better and make progress every time we go on the racing track. We give credit to the team and the drivers for their hard work here in Bahrain over the last couple of weeks. How well this team works together will really show next week when we go to Jeddah, a completely different racing track from Bahrain. This gives us a new chance to keep learning and making our A524 car package better. The hard work will keep going, but the feeling and mood at Alpine is not really the healthiest place to grow and get better if y'all think about it. For example, the two drivers are not best friends out there, and it seems like their old fights and problems are just waiting to come back again. And with the team's CEO Laurent Rossi's latest bad behavior towards people who everyone respects in the sport, you could easily say that when the fish is rotten it starts from the head. When Alain Prost got fired from the team a couple of years ago, someone who loyally worked as a special helper, he said that the main problem with Alpine is that Laurent Rossi wants all of the attention and spotlight for himself. Another person, named Otmar Schaffnauer, said that Rossi thinks progress in F1 racing is like getting 9 women pregnant and believing he will have a baby in 1 month. You don't need to say much more. It makes total sense why Fernando Alonso left and why Oscar Piastri refused to drive for Alpine. Not only do important workers leave, but they're also joining teams that seem to be Alpine's biggest enemies now, like Williams. The drivers right now understand the bad position they're in. Even though they're both really unhappy with what's happening with the team right now, the only way you can go from here is up. Ocon went on to say that he's not the type of person to leave the team just because they're going through a really tough time. The French driver has been one of the team members who stayed the longest, winning a race in Hungary in 2021 and getting 3rd place in last year's Monaco race. When talking more about the current problems that have hit his home team, he went on to say if things don't go according to plan, obviously I am ready to end the season last on the grid, but we haven't driven the car yet in full competition. We don't know exactly. The news people are saying it's the worst when it comes to our car's speed and performance. It is a possibility because we haven't put it all together with everyone else, but it's not over. There are still going to be things to fight for this year, and I need to keep on pushing because if you start that low and with how you guys are talking, I could quit and just leave the racetrack right now, but no, that's not who I am. The fact that Alpine's car has been called Thessalist on the racing grid, even slower than Haas, the American team that has been really criticized for their latest moves in the sport, shows that this is definitely the worst place the French car company could find itself in right now. Another very important thing to mention is that they make engines, and while there is no other team out there using their engine, having this special thing in the sport pays off really well for business and getting people to notice you if you know how to use it right. But at this point, this seems to be the weakest thing about Alpine's management of the team. Besides becoming the team that everyone laughs at in Formula 1 in 2024, Alpine are also at huge risk of losing some very rich partners and sponsors like BWT, the company that joined them in 2022 and the company that paid for most of the money for the French team. Some of their goals, like having 2 French drivers, have been completed, but it seems like this is nowhere near enough when it comes to being able to win races. So the goal would be to get better right away and at least be involved in getting points. Otherwise, there's nothing much you can do for the remaining 23 races. It's really painful to think that a team that wanted to fight Mercedes, Ferrari and McLaren at the front of the pack, and the team that actually won the middle pack, battle against McLaren back in 2022, is now called the worst one on the grid by a huge amount. For comparison, Hülkenberg got into the top 10 fastest cars with his Haas, and Magnussen managed to get into the top 15 and finish the practice session in 15th place, both results being way better than what Alpine did at 19th and 20th place. However, the small hope that the team could turn things around and at least be in the mix in the middle pack's lower group, which has been promised by Gasly, is still there. When talking about the future of the team, the other French driver went on to say, yes, some goals have been missed in terms of timing, but it still doesn't mean that we can't reach them at some point during the season. As a competitive team, no one is happy with a challenging start. This wasn't the plan, but this is the situation that we are in, and we are facing it together as a team. We either get to look forward and come up with answers because we know we have some solutions, whether it's short-term or medium-term at the moment. That's all I'm thinking about. There's a reason for why we are here. At the end of the day, what matters right now as of today is how fast we're going to be able to make that car we have better. It's not like Alpine hasn't made small bits of improvement. According to Ocon, there are a couple of small problems that could be fixed in a period of 3 days of practice testing, but that is nowhere near now when it comes to being back to getting points. Alpine would have to beat teams like Williams and RB, both of which want to consistently get points in the lower group. And on top of that, Kick-Sauber seems to have found some really great solutions for their car before the 2024 season started. So to say that Alpine has suddenly found itself in this situation as someone who watched the sport a couple of years ago is really a shocking fact. Whether or not the team will find what they need in terms of speed and getting better, time will tell. But whenever you have workers leaving on their own and jumping ship, it's never a good sign for the working atmosphere inside the team. A similar thing happened at Mercedes, but the bad results for the team were nowhere near as close to the ones that Alpine is going through right now. The main difference is that Mercedes can always attract great engineers because it's a high-valued place to work, unlike Alpine, a team that has been called broken and messed up under the leadership of Laurent Rossi. Do you think that Alpine has what it takes to make its performance better in the upcoming time period? And more importantly, do you think that they will make the prediction come true and finish dead last in the Constructors' Championship in 2024 after all of the early season workers leaving? Let us know in the comments below.